Hello, I'm Denis Walter, and I'm proudly a part of Tobin Brothers and Tobin Brothers Say It Now month. It's a very special time. It's an important time, and I'm going to be sharing some of the stories of people who have been a part of my life, either helped my career or have been family or friends, all very, very dear to me. And we start off with Ernie Sigley. I mentioned Ernie 5 years ago when the hashtag Say It Now month began, and I need to mention him again because he has been such a huge part of my life. Career-wise, I've mentioned many times, he was the person who gave me a chance to move from being a singer to doing radio, doing television news, and so many things. And we, from meeting at airports when Ernie was the host of Wheel of Fortune, and every couple of weeks I'd run into him at Tullamarine, he'd say, "Oh, I'm sick of doing this, tired of doing this." And I'd say, "Ern, you're only working 1 day a week. You're doing 1 day a fortnight, I should say, and you're taping 2 weeks of shows. It's okay." Anyway, beyond that, we did Tonight shows in Ballarat together. I did Adelaide Tonight with him. And then he was appointed to be the executive producer of Keno when Channel 9 were trying to find a reason to get Ernie back within the fold. And he was asked to get a replacement host for Max Walker on Keno at that point, which is a 90-second presentation 5 nights a week. Ernie wasn't sure who he was going to get. He watched the only midday show where I ever got to talk. I'd sung my song, Ray Martin came over to me, we had a chat, Ernie was watching, and he said, "I'll get Denis to come in and do an audition." Well, that was the beginning of something really special for me. First of all, it was the beginning of 12 years at Channel 9. Then when people started to see me talking and not singing, suddenly I got an offer to join 3GL Geelong and do morning radio. Within a year, I got to be at 3MP, and then everything just developed from there. So my little friend's assistance at that point was of such importance to my career, and ultimately, of course, we worked together at 3AW, but I never actually got to say thank you to him. I just want him to know just how important he has been in my life. I can't name the second person, but something really unusual happened to me. Who has never believed in fate? In late 2019. September of that year, we were to go on a holiday to Noosa, and a family member got very unwell, not gravely ill, but very unwell, and was admitted to hospital, so we had to postpone the holiday to January 2020. Here's the thing, we were supposed to have been in Noosa in September. We were now going in January. As we landed at Maroochydore, I said to my wife Annette, "Hey, I really feel like I'd like to do another record." And she said, "Well, you should think about that and do something about it." An hour and a half later, I checked into the hotel and hopped into the lift, and a voice said, "Denis, how are you?" And I didn't know who it was. And then it twigged with me. We had a chat. He was one of our most powerful CEOs of record companies, and I hadn't been with that company for about 25 years. I hadn't seen him for about 25 years. Between ground floor and the third floor, he said to me, "Why aren't we recording you?" And I said, "Well, that's not up to me." And he said, "It will happen." So within 40 minutes, I started getting phone calls from executives of that record company, and the record did happen. It happened during COVID, and I'm so grateful to him that, in fact, yesterday, I, by chance, got hold of his mobile number. He's had a really tough time since then, but I haven't spoken to him yet, but I did leave him a message to just say thank you for giving a bloke in his mid-60s a record company contract at that time, and it was fate. It has to have been fate, because we weren't supposed to be there at that time. Maybe if I hadn't hopped in the lift at that time, it wouldn't have happened. But this nameless person has been very important to a section of my life and my career. Hashtag Say It Now month is really important because it gives people an opportunity to communicate messages or emotions that they might have been thinking about for a long time. And of course, family comes well into that. I'm happy to say that within my group of my my wife Annette, my stepdaughters, who are now 48, who I've had since I was 21 and they were 2. And now we have 2 beautiful grandchildren. Will and Matthew, both of the girls were expected perhaps to not be able to have children. They both had 1 son each. But I'm happy to say that nothing will go unsaid in our family because it's so important. Workmates are a big part of my life, and I've always loved having great relations with workmates, whether it's the person who's just started in the mailroom or whether it's the CEO or the boss, right across the board. I like having a laugh, I like making them feel valued. And I was talking to a workmate just a few weeks back, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing this filming for #SayItNow month." And he got talking about his relationship with his father. And his relationship in his teens was terrible, was awful. And he had to move out of home for a short time to live with a friend because there was this tension between him and his father. Tension that completely, well, not completely, but almost disappeared in adulthood, where they developed a really good relationship. They would go to the pub together, they would laugh together, they would go to sporting events together, and the adult years were really, really good. But he always wanted to ask his father and talk about those turbulent years and to just get a bit more of an idea of his dad's childhood. Which brings me to Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years, where that lyric of, "I wasn't there that morning when my father passed away, I didn't get to tell him all the things I had to say." So for my mate, in his relationship with his father, he wished that he'd had those conversations, but he didn't get the opportunity to do that. And that's why #SayItNow month is so important for everyone to share the love, to share the good messages. So I'm hoping that people take it on board and it becomes a part of how they go about things to, not just this month, but just in life. Don't wait till it's too late. Say it now.